Welcome to growing your own food in your own backyard. And if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing and don't forget to hit the like button. It is Tuesday morning, May 21st, the day after this late May freak snowstorm we received. This was not in the forecast that I can recall. I truly monitor the forecast, especially in April and May, because we have such unpredictable weather in the Denver metro area. And we were told cooler temperatures, light rain with a dusting of snow. But to my amazement, Monday afternoon, late afternoon, it started really snowing, and it was really coming down heavy. And all I could do is make a mad dash in the backyard and literally cover everything. I put pots on my newly planted annuals. I was taking all of my frost blankets, all of my inventory frost blankets, and literally covering everything. As you can see, my ferns that were under a little bit of shelter was not impacted by the snowfall. However, the ferns in the front part of my bed are way down with heavy wet snow. In the corner of my backyard where there's no snow, I found this quite amazing. My Austrian pine tree literally sheltered all of my plantings underneath the Austrian pine tree. My potatoes were not affected. My lilac bush was not affected. My hostas plants were not affected. My peonies was not affected, so I was really happy about that. But the other side of my backyard, you can see my apple tree is heavily weighed down with wet snow. My cantaloupe plant is also triple covered. I don't know what the outcome is on that one. You can see all of my pots on my patio that have been potted. I have those also covered. And my raised bed where my peach tree is, this is my baby. I started this peach tree from seed. I am getting fruit this year. I had little small peach fruits about the size of a marble, and I was not gonna lose this. So I triple wrapped this tree. I double wrapped it with commercial grade frost blanket and a standard grade frost blanket. I have my tomatoes in a little tomato pop-up planter. It's really a great product that I purchased, and I will put the description and the link up at the top. And then I added 2 more frost blankets on top of everything else I had planted. And you can't see it because they look like little mountains, but literally it looks like a tent that went over my carrots, my onions, my tomatoes, and etc. I had bell peppers planted in the back, again, triple covered. My grapes, I ran out of my Eastern Concord grapevines. I actually ran out of frost blankets, so I was grabbing sheets and blankets and towels. So as you can see, I did everything in my power to try to cover everything that I had planted, because this again was a freak of nature. A snowstorm in late May. This hasn't happened in 44 years. So I'm hoping that most of everything I had planted does recover. It's 2 days later, and the temperature has warmed up. It's close to 50 degrees. I'm going to start the unveiling to see how well my covers and my shelters was able to perform. So let's see. This is what you call frugal gardening. Okay. Oh, I need to take the pins out over here. I remember I put pins all over here. Okay. Okay. Oh, look at my petunias. Petunias are looking good. No signs of stress. No signs of stress. But that's not what I was most concerned of. I was most concerned of my tomato plants. Oh, tomato plants look lovely. No signs of stress, no signs of damage or anything. So this is awesome. So yeah, tomatoes look good. Maybe I could take this cover off and show you exactly how my tomatoes fare. And I've had them in the ground since mid-April. And as you can see, tomatoes have done very, very well, and they're growing. Look how much has grown. So I'm really, really impressed with these tomatoes. So looking really good. And then the tomatoes over here, as you can see, I have my turmeric in here, and there's my tomato plants. See how healthy it is? Okay, so they fared well. So let's look at my bell peppers and see what happened with my bell peppers. So I really doubled up on my bell peppers because they were not in the ground. These bell peppers was in a pot. Wow, look at this. Look at this. They did awesome. Look, no signs of stress or anything. But I certainly will be covering them tonight because they're talking about getting down to 32 degrees. So this is awesome. And let's see what this bell pepper looks like. So these are going to have to get recovered because we're still not out of the woodwork. We still get below 50 degrees at night. Wow, look at this. Did really good. Did really good. And then I was concerned, I actually ran out of covers. I tell you, I was covering everything I could think of because my grapes, it looks like my grapes suffered a little. Oh, this is not good. I didn't have the right cover. See, I should have had the frost blanket, but I ran out of frost blankets, so it looked like it suffered a little. Looks like my Concord grapes might have suffered a little. So these were starting to turn into flowers, and unfortunately I ran out of frost blankets like this. Had I had frost blankets like this, I could have not seen any damage on my Concord grapevines. But this is a hardy grapevine. It is a grapevine that does well in the cold climate, so I'm hoping it would bounce back and not have any damage and produce some good grapes for me. All right, so you can see that proper covering is important for keeping your plants from freezing. And so now this was my cantaloupe, and I'm gonna see how well it did. Oh wow, it did really good. Look at this. Did really good. Did really, really good. I'm really happy. There is a little stress on the cantaloupe, but I'm not too concerned about it. I do have the black plastic on top, so when the sun comes out, it heats up the soil really good, and hopefully this cantaloupe would bounce back. But having the commercial grade frost blanket and the standard grade frost blanket, there was minimum damage. So it's obvious that when you have the right cover on your plants, you can really eliminate any damage. And that was not the case with the Concord grapevine. So unfortunately, I'll see how that bounces back. In the previous photo, do you recall where all of this area in the corner was not even touched by snow? Because the canopy from my Austrian pine tree literally blocked the snowfall. And if you recall, in the previous picture, there was no snowfall at all. Not even on my hostas or my ground covers. Not even my lilac did not get affected. So it's obvious that the covering does play a big role in protecting your plants. However, in this bed, I did do covering because I had petunias in the ground. I had my zinnias in the ground. Here's my petunias, there's my zinnias. And those were just newly planted. I started the zinnias and petunias from seed. They were newly planted. The other concern I had was my geraniums. And my geraniums seem to have done well. Yep. So I'm really, really pleased with that the annuals I planted did really good. And again, my perennials I expected to do well. My peonies weren't affected at all, but the geraniums and the annuals I planted did good with the covering. So I'm going to take this frost blanket and I'm going to put it over my grapevines because it's supposed to get down to 32 degrees at 2 o'clock in the morning. And that's what I monitor and pay attention to, that I don't have any issues with my plants freezing when it gets to 32, because 32 is freezing. So I feel confident that I can keep these exposed tonight, and they need to get some sunlight, or some daylight rather. We don't have sun, but we got daylight because it has been 2 days. So I just wanted to give you a brief uncovering, unveiling of some of the plants that survived this snowstorm we had earlier this week, and how covering was able to save some of my newly planted annuals like my zinnias and my petunias. I had just planted my pincushion perennial. I covered it with this bucket, it did well. And I also had just planted my Delphenia, and it did well. I want to try to get these plants some daylight before I put the pots on them again. Oh, this did really good. This is my Sylvia. It was just newly planted right before the storm, which did well. Oh, look at this. These I grew from seed, so those did well as a result of the covering. Oh, awesome. This is my elephant ear plant, and I had overwintered it, transplanted it in the ground, covered it, did great. Same way with my diathis. So I'm happy that I got out there and just grabbed whatever I could to cover, and it did really well. Now I'm not going to uncover this tree because it was a chore to cover it. I had little small peaches about the size of a pearl. And if you look at my previous videos, this is the peach tree I grew from a seed. And I was getting a little frustrated that I wasn't getting peaches after receiving many prolific blooms, but no peaches. And after doing research, I had discovered that sometimes you can end up getting a variety or a cultivar that may not fruit if you grew a peach from a peach seed. As you could all probably understand that when you have been anxiously waiting for something to produce in your ground or in a pot or a tree you purchased and you realize it's come to fruition, it's really exciting. And so in this particular case, I had peaches. Yay! I can't wait to show you guys. And I was not gonna lose them. So I triple cover this tree. It got 2 commercial frost blankets, which are the white blankets, and then it got the standard frost blankets, which is the green blanket, and I'm going to keep that covered until tomorrow. We're supposed to get up into the 60s. The nighttime low Friday night will be above 32, so I can uncover it, and then I'll do the unveiling for you and let you know how well it fared. But I'm confident that it fared well, because this is the one baby, this is my baby that I was going to protect. So thank you for watching. I just want to let you know that we had this freak weather. We have not had a snowstorm in late May in 44 years, so this was unusual. I don't think too many of the weathermen were forecasting it. Now, some people on Facebook said, oh, well, I got the forecasting 24 hours prior, but I monitor the temperature during the spring, because this is Colorado. This is growing weather. This is gardening in Colorado. So that's one thing I do. I monitor 3 different weather forecast channels, and no one forecasted this type of snowstorm coming. So you can imagine the hours before the snowstorm came, I was out here covering, and as many frost blankets as I have accumulated over time, I ran out and was using sheets and blankets for other covering. But I'm just happy to know that a lot of my hot weather plants, the tomatoes, the bell peppers, did fare very well. Strawberries look like it did take a slight beating, but it's an Eastern Concord grapevine. So I'm believing that's going to bounce back, because it is a grapevine that's very acclimated to the northern climate. And then, of course, my cantaloupe did show little signs of stress, but I'm believing that it's going to bounce back. We're going to get temperatures in the 60s, 70s over the weekend. So I just wanted to give you an update to all my northern gardeners, and especially my Colorado gardeners, who I've been hearing their pain and their cry through the Colorado Facebook groups I belong to, and feeling their joy when everything was fine and feeling their pain when things didn't go well. This year I didn't suffer much of tree limbs breaking off, but 3 years ago I did. So thank you for watching, and if you have any comments, I'd love to hear from you.